The war against the humans was slow going. I could think of little else as I prepared the ion cannon to roast another one of their colonies that we had detected in a mountainous region of the planet below. My warband has been holding orbit over this war for nearly 8 cycles now. Our war with any other species might have been concluded by now, but these humans aren't like any other species. They just don't surrender. Even after we dispatched the small fleet defending this planet and enforced a total blockade, and even after commencing bombardment from orbit, surgical at first, indiscriminate in time, the humans below have shown no signs of cracking. They appear to have an almost unlimited tolerance of pain and destruction, and total disregard for their own lives. They expend the lives of their drones as thoughtlessly as we expend ammo, and for everyone that dies, it's as though they produce 10 more to fill their ranks. Of course, individual human drones, cut off from the collective, have been known to surrender. During the opening salves of our attack on this world, I boarded a destroyed human space platform and found one surviving drone that exhibited a degree of individual thought and self-preservation. It threw down its weapon and accepted capture, but once safe in captivity it started to wither away and die. Unable to communicate with its hive mind, the drone grew lethargic and eventually ceased to eat. I tried to keep it alive through infusions of nutrient paste, but there was nothing I could do to sate its psychic need for connection to the hive, and the specimen expired after it ingested cooling fluid that it, in a mindless fit, had drank from a pipe it had torn open in its cell. It was an early lesson in what other war bands had reported. Capturing humans was pointless. Their colonies need to be burned out completely, like pests. And so our war with them dragged on. We had long since glassed the primary nodes of opposition on this planet, but survivors had escaped into an endless series of mountain complexes, where they have established new colonies, reproducing more drones. We have launched a number of assaults into the human tunnels, but they were always teeming with fearsome warrior humans. And even when we cleared one tunnel system, the casualties were simply too great, and the humans reproduced so rapidly that even one of us killed for 100 of them dead was an exchange in their favor. A human pupae can mature and be ready for combat in as little as 2 cycles, and human mothers can reproduce in clutches as large as 3. And worst of all, the hive mind has seemingly reacted to our presence. Human mothers have increased their birth rates almost 5-fold since our arrival, and have started imprinting their offspring with a ferocity that earlier generations simply lacked. The mechanisms by which they have achieved such rapid changes in their ethology is poorly understood. While individual humans are lacking in intellect or awareness, they appear able to link their minds and think as though they were one giant superorganism, one vastly more intelligent than the drones that comprise it. For intense psychic conditioning, humans are capable of imprinting complex codes of conduct on their lowly drones and cultivate a level of conformity quite alien to us. And their baseline tendency towards conformity is greatly amplified by the use of primitive computer technology, which they use constantly, and which constantly exposes them to the groupthink of their hive mind, which spans the planet despite our best efforts to break it up by destroying their data nodes. While each individual drone only has limited awareness, it can be imprinted with enough knowledge by the hive mind to perform 1 or 2 tasks with a degree of competency that allows their colonies to function despite grievous losses in resources or lives. What is known is they have a caste system. Humans divide themselves roughly into worker humans, warrior humans, and a rare class of leadership humans. The hive mind selects choice members of the leadership caste to elevate, and defective ones to discard and repurpose as worker or warrior drones, for an intense process that involves consultation with nearly every mind linked together in a given hive. So visceral is this mind linking, that humans are ready to die for their leaders and rarely question the directives generated by the leadership caste. Humans have been observed fighting hopeless battles just to give high caste members of their species time to escape to the next colony. By the same token, cut off from their leadership caste, they have been observed reverting into feral behavior, scarcely more than animals. It is their great strength. It must also be their greatest weakness. I reasoned that there must exist a mind at the top of their complicated control network, a sort of monarch or brain human. My warband abandoned our failing strategy of attrition. From now on, we sought to locate and destroy this monarch, and hoped that it would finally break the human resistance on this world. We braved the human tunnels once more. I watched some of my best men get chewed up by 1,000 stings from their primitive weaponry, or burned alive by the traps they had burrowed into their tunnels. But we did it all to capture as many live specimens as possible. We scanned their rudimentary brain structures, and a recurring image occurred. That of a frail and aged human, alive since the start of the invasion, that commanded immense power over the psyche of the other drones. We had found our target. It was eventually revealed to be located at a small colony near the south pole of the planet, built into the side of a glacier. For this mission, I wanted to be absolutely sure of the monarch's death. I wanted to kill this creature that had been vexing my campaign here for so long by my own hand. I crashed into the glacier a short distance away by drop pod, under the cover of a storm, and braved the blistering heat of an exhaust pipe to insert into the depths of the human colony. I activated my stealth suit and followed a map of the colony that I had constructed from the memories of captured drones. And then I found it, hibernating in an alcove of the colony. The monarch. I blasted it in the abdomen with my plasma pistol. It gave out a pained screech and flared about briefly, but then it looked at me, my stealth suit having deactivated by the power surge. It then did something that I have never observed before. It spoke to me in our language. It simply said, "There will always be others." I reactivated my stealth suit, but as I looked on at the dying creature and saw its final breaths, I felt seen by 1,000 sets of eyes, peering at me, judging me, punishing me, burning me to my very essence. The creature had communicated to me in words, but now it was also communicating to my very soul. And for the briefest of moments I felt it. I was linked to the Hive.